Welcome back to Krowned Culture, the podcast. Today we're filming episode 2, You're Only As Good As Your Tribe, Friendship Dynamics Kind of Explained. We are here just to talk about some of the, things we experience every day through friendships and relationships, and really just explore how that is in real time. I'm here today with some of my lovely featured guests, my amazing friends and lovely ladies. So to the right of me, I've got the beautiful Sierra Jones-Ward. And I've got the beautiful, amazing Danielle Coulard. I've got Beza Solomon, my amazing, phenomenal. She's my girl, y'all. And then I've got my amazing, awesome wisdom, bearing, okay, prayer warrior, okay. That's why we all up here, by the way. Miss Shalandria. Just want to take the time to start. If everybody could just bow their heads, close their eyes. Father God, we're thanking you for today. We're thanking you for an amazing, magnificent experience. We ask that you just go before us in this conversation and allow you to just articulate the thoughts and the things that you need to be shared with people that are listening. We just thank you for your presence and your goodness. You are just so amazing in everything that you do. We are pursuing you. We're chasing after you in everything. In Jesus' name, in your name, we pray. Amen. Faith is in session.
Amen.
All right, so y'all know, it's no secret that the friends we meet to keep us company along our journey in the pursuit of life matters the most. And I like to believe that they're God-sent angels in the flesh. So, I'd like to know, just to start, because I like to pose questions to myself often. And I think that just fuels conversations, the questions that we ask and how we explore them. So I'd like to know kind of like, how are you? What type of friend are you? If you had to describe yourself, how would you describe yourself as a friend? I guess I'll start. And I'd say for me, I'm extremely big on loyalty, love, and respect. I just believe in showing up for people in the most authentic way possible. I believe in meeting people where they are. I believe learning to speak different love languages and learning to speak different friends with different purposes, love languages. So that's kind of the type of friend that I am. I'm the friend that's going to show up for you no matter what. If you need me in the car and just to pull up, no, we don't do that, don't worry. But I am that friend very much so, and I cheer for my friends and I clap for them. And so that would be how I would describe the type of friend I am.
You can describe all of us.
Yeah,
I think so.
I think that describes all of us, but also I think that for me in friendship, being a servant and just serving your friends in whatever way they need, whatever the season calls for, and just like really bowing to, if you're both serving each other, then there's that balance.
I definitely agree with that. I can definitely agree with that. Yeah, I mean, I agree with all what was said. I think I'm very present. I'm very loyal. I'm very big on being present, especially because that's what I expect of my friends as well. For the little things, even on a day-to-day basis, but also for the big things, like I'm very big on being present on achievements, life and death. So baby showers, birthdays, funerals, that type of thing. I'm very passionate. I go to war for my people, and I'm over-invested sometimes, but it's it's a very good and bad thing about me. So. I think we can say that about all of us.
That part, I agree.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I mean, I think to all the things that you guys have said, really the only thing I think that I add is just like that intention with your friends. In terms of, I know Beza, we kind of talked about this before, but the idea of just knowing the hearts of your friends. And I think it's been so important in why friendships of mine have lasted as long as they have, because we all have different moods, we have different. Every day, you might not feel the way you did yesterday, or maybe you talked to me 30 minutes ago, and now 30 minutes later, I'm tripping. You know what I mean? That's just part of life, but making sure you're a friend that says, I know your heart. And so when you're having a moment like that, I try to make sure that I'm the friend that's like, I see what's in your heart, and so I'm not going to take a moment right here and take that so personally, because I know your heart. And so I try to make sure that I'm the friend that reminds all of my friends that, like, girl, we know each other's heart. Like, never let some of the emotions of today get in the way of, the bigger picture of our friendship. So I try to be that friend, because, girl, we be having days. So.
Okay, we all do. We all do.
Yeah.
I would say, well, my friends pretty much look at me as like the mom.
Yes.
Or give that
The accountability friend.
Yeah.
But I'm also just dependable, loving. I'm like which can be a bad thing at times, but a lot of the times my friends don't know everything that's going on with me because I just want to be that. I want to be that strong friend.
Yeah.
You know?
I can
So
relate to
I
that.
take that role a lot.
Yeah.
I think that would explain it.
Yeah. I definitely agree. I think that's also why I've curated this group of wonderful women, because we have that common thread. And I think when you start to talk about like your friendships and the people who are in your circle, I think you have to try and know your personnel, because if you don't know the people that you're dealing with and what friend gives you what on what day, like I know if I pick up the phone and I call Sierra, we might go into prayer, okay? Or we might go deep into prayer because that's just what's necessary. Or we might, I don't know, I joke, I play all day. She knows that. Everybody up here knows I play all day. So I have those friends where it's just like maybe sometimes we're on joke time, but then, I also have friends where I know if I needed something, like if I needed to anything, they are going to drop everything, for me. So I think that when we talk about that, that's really important. How do y'all feel about y'all tribe? Like, I think when we talk about tribes and the people that surround us, that could include your mentors. Yeah. That can include, your family, because family, I believe, that's part of your tribe. They help you, they shape you, they mold you. Yeah. How do y'all feel about your tribe?
I mean, basically, I go to war, what I mean? It's because they are so loyal, they are so genuine. I think in a lot of ways, all of your relationships bring something to your life where not that you're lacking, but that you can grow. You know what I mean? And I feel like that about everybody who's in my circle is like, oh, this friend is for this friend is this. Like, it's like, dang, I know when I'm trying to make a decision regarding this, like, this is who I go to for this. Or when I know when I'm in this type of situation, this is who I would call for this. Like, this is who you call to calm down. This is who you call to go, you know what I mean? Like, and so I feel so strongly about my tribe because they feel like my puzzle pieces. You know what I mean? Like, they just intertwine and connect with me. And it's like, when it's like, oh my God, like, I'm so warm. You know what I mean? Like, that's how you feel. And that's why you go to war for that. Because you're like, yeah, you playing with my puzzle pieces. Like, okay. Stop playing. I can't be complete without my tribe. Yeah. So that's how I think about it.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
I think that my perspective on my tribe is a little different just because I'm older than all of you. So I think that I've grown to accept that my needs in friendship change. And that of the people around me also change. So as we go through different seasons, being able to adjust. And then also, I think, not being afraid to dial back for a season or to push in and lean in for another season. And then with two people who respect each other, then you'll understand, like, okay, we might have been, a lot closer 3-4 years ago, but life took me this way and life took you that way. And now it's a little different, but there's always love there. There's always going to be respect there. I personally approach friendship in that way of knowing that, okay, while my life is here in this current season, this is the type of friend that I can be to you, this is the type of friend you can be to me, and then this is how we, does this work for both of us?
Right.
And are we equally aligned in that way? Yeah. Our lives, like Danny said, puzzle pieces, like no puzzle piece is the same. Right. And so the way that it connects to you, it might not connect to another friend you have. And so recognizing and not putting people in that position of, okay, this person, like, why are my friends not getting along? But recognizing, oh, they might not be supposed to get along. They're not meant for that. They're connected to me. Right. And that is the common denominator. Yeah. But then over time, though, as you get older, and I think where I am now, I'm realizing that, the people that I have around me, it's based on my core values, who I am, and so those people, they end up finding things in common. And some of my friends, like, they might have met like a birthday party or something, and then they're talking on Instagram, and now they're friends, and I'm like, oh, okay. When your friendship is based on the right why, and you're centered in who you are, then your friends, like all your friends, like there's gonna be some type of commonality.
Yeah, for sure, 100% agree with that.
I was reading this book, and that's it. And if people want to write that down, it's called Relational Intelligence by Pastor Darius Daniels. And the same way we talk about emotional intelligence and IQ, it breaks down the roles that people play in your life, but also how to navigate and take the correct actions to be strategic in your friendships. Knowing when some people may have been more of your friends can turn into an assignment in your life at one part.
Oh yeah.
Because sometimes you grow and you experience things that takes you a little bit ahead, and God puts more knowledge into your brain, and it's like you no longer get to connect, like you said, with those people in your circle the same way you used to. So that book really helped me at a pivotal point with my best friend, because I was doing a lot of reading and I was just hungry for knowledge like crazy, and she just wasn't there yet. And I was feeling strained because I'm like, that's who I talk to about these things. And God just was like, the word was grace. Like, it's grace right now, you know, because you guys are not at the same place, but that doesn't mean that you bring yourself, you know, you act like you don't have the knowledge so that you can connect, but you also don't have expectations of her to have that. And so that grace allowed us to still be able to be the friends that we were, but to have a little bit of a shift. So Relational Intelligence by Pastor Darius Daniels. Great read.
Okay. And to touch on what Danny said, like, of course, grace, and what Shalandra said as well, like, and what Bridget said, knowing your people, and then also at different stages in life. Like, I know I could personally use myself as an example. You know, y'all know I'm Aunt B to all the kids. So all my friends that now have children, and that really, you know, honestly, I didn't really realize how much of a difference it would make in life until we got here. And now that we're here, because all of my tribe, I could say, you know, these are friendships that I've had for 10, 20 years. I don't question or doubt their heart, their intention, but as life moved on, I realized that, hey, this person might not be there for me the way I want them to. But that also led me to think about expectations, especially in regards to their life and how they can, because I think it's also important we have realistic expectations, because for people that can't be there for themselves or that are busy, you know, raising the whole family, you know, and like I always say, I'm still barely raising myself. You know, I can't imagine. So, you know, you're raising a family, you're doing this, you're doing that, you're trying to be mentally, spiritually sane, and then also be present for your friends. So grace is a very big thing, because I know I can speak for myself personally. I'm not one to quickly cut somebody off. Because I'm going to think about how this person has been there for me, their intentions, their heart, their life circumstances, and everybody's different in the way that they show up for people. So that's my take on that as well. But grace is very important.
And I think too, something I thought about, as Beza mentioned, it's the other side of showing grace, but also recognizing that as life moves forward, not holding on to a friendship simply because of the history.
Oh yeah,
As you
I
shift,
love that.
Yeah, like as you shift, it's like, oh, but I've been friends with this person since I was 5.
Yeah.
It's like, but God is saying it's time to keep on going.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So I think it's like finding that balance.
Yeah, because I literally was thinking about proximity friends. As I'm doing like an evaluation of the people who are in my life now and connected to me, I'm just like, I'm not even hesitant, because what I'm experiencing is I have a friend or a couple friends who do just enough just to say that they're connected or have that access, but they're not necessarily doing what it requires, you know, or speaking my love language to actually like say like, this is me. I'm your friend. I'm honoring this friendship. And I'm like, you gotta go.
I have a question for everybody. When that happens in that type of situation, how do you communicate that to your friends? Are you the type of friend who pulls back, or do you know how to bring that up and say, hey, you're not serving me in this way? Or is it that awkward, like we both know something's off, it's the elephant in the room, and then time is passing, and then you're like, oh, I don't know, this feels different, but neither of us has verbalized it.
You know, I think actually we're talking. Sorry, go ahead.
I think it's all about delivery. One, well, you have to discern whether or not, is this a friendship that I really want to keep? Is it going to be more of a strain? You try to explain, you know, how you're feeling, you know, so you discern which one, and then sometimes there's nothing needs to be said. You just know that, okay, maybe this is, I don't want to say my way out, but a lot of times you realize that, like, you know, this is too much.
You can say like,
this has been too much for me. I would just go ahead and take that. But when going to your friend, it's all about delivery. When you have the love just love for people, it's about the delivery, how you say things, because you don't want them to feel bad per se, but just you want them to understand. So delivery.
And you know, so often that sometimes they don't even know that they're not showing up for you in ways, like people's experiences in their life and how people have shown up for them or haven't shown up for them in all this time. You might be their first experience having expectations within a friendship that actually lasts, like within putting work into a friendship. And so that's why that delivery is so important, because you have to almost be like, I know you, but at the same time, like this is what friendship requires for me, you know?
I do have one.
I was gonna piggyback.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, you know, I agree with what everybody said, but I also feel like our generation is so fixated on, and not only in regards to like, you know, having a conversation about friendships, but every little thing, and sometimes nothing needs to be said. Like, you don't always have to say, if I just naturally outgrow somebody and over the days we speak less, but it's hey, how are you? I genuinely hope you're doing well. That's okay. It happens all the time. I don't have to have a conversation with every single person like, hey, I'm going this way in life and I'm going to do this and that and that. I'm growing in the spirit realm, and we're not there. I don't have to have that conversation with every single person. I personally don't feel like I do, and not everybody gets that. So I think a lot of people have to really understand and apply that to their lives, because nowadays it's always like, well, we never talked about it.
Right. And part of being in tune with yourself is knowing and feeling that separation. Like, and if you trust that you're around the same people or similar people who would feel that similar situation, that separation. So if I'm not, that's another disconnect for me. If you can't feel it or you can't sense it, like, you don't sense there's an issue, that's something that's major for me. It's concerning.
And that's like, oh wait, see, did you want to go first? Because
No, go ahead, because
okay.
I'm going to shift this.
Okay, because I was going to say, a few things came to my mind, but something that's important with friendship is, like you said, knowing yourself, like starting with that level of self-awareness, and starting with almost like understanding what's important for you in friendship before you can even like pick your tribe, and before the right people can be attracted to you. And then realizing that, okay, there might be people, like friends that I've already had, who might not be the most self-aware, and like being able to not overlook those types of things. And as you shift, recognizing that, okay, this might have been okay with me when I was in college, but it's not okay with me now. And then it's like, as you start to move differently, whether it requires a conversation or not, as you move differently, and the other person might notice as well, and if they take offense to it, then that's essentially their prerogative, just depending on or what the situation calls for, I'll say. So I think for me as well, again, I keep bringing up my age. I'm not old. I'm 29, but still, I'm not old. But I will say that I am obviously older than everyone here, but also I have always had older friends. So I do have friends that are in like their mid to late 30s. And just in totally different seasons in life. But something that I have learned just from just who I am as a person, but also those friendships, it's really like this dance. And like one of my friends, we use this analogy all the time. It really is this dance, and as the music changes, like the beat switches, the steps, they change, and it's like you have to adjust. And that can be applied to, friendship and romantic relationships, but essentially any interaction with other people, it's like, oh, okay, the beat switched. And it's like, you could be somewhere and you're not really in control. Like, none of us are in control. God is in control. So it's like, he's a DJ. So when he's ready, he's done with that song. He's like, what are you on? Like,
good one.
Good one.
That's him.
Y'all heard it?
So dramatic.
Because
he is the DJ.
All right.
I like that.
She said, get it. Yeah, because...
Shift that seat.
Yeah.
So I know we've been talking a lot about, when those friendships are coming to an end, maybe not saying much, but I have to bring up, I don't like the narrative of girlfriends cutting each other off so quickly. And for very, very small reasons, like not showing up to my birthday dinner. Can we speak on that? I don't like it.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense.
All I'm going to say on that is those who know grace, show grace.
Yeah.
I had someone not show up to my birthday dinner. She ended up getting caught up. There was a lot of things going on. Still love her. I'll see her later today.
Yeah.
It's nothing wrong with that. I'm not cutting her off. I know her heart.
Yeah.
Period. Point blank.
I think that's what it comes down to. And I have this conversation so often. So many people use the term friend so loosely, let alone close friend or my sister or my ace boon cool, whatever you want to call them. Yeah. And you really do not know their hearts, because anybody, just like I said 2 seconds ago, anybody that I consider a close friend or a part of my tribe, I've never had to question. Right. I don't have to question their heart. I don't have to question their loyalty. If they cannot make something, it's because they genuinely couldn't. Whether they make it up to me or not, it doesn't change how great of a friend they are.
Exactly, exactly.
So, and I think that's the root of a lot of the problem when you see these girls, oh, she ain't coming right to dinner, forget her, I'm not friends with her no more. Yeah, I left her last year. It's like, that's crazy. That's insane.
It's okay to grow separately, but like, you don't have to. I think that's also something with the world that we're living in now, where we feel like everything has to be so harsh. Like, just to let somebody know, like, they just want to be so rude. And it doesn't call for that. Like,
and I think it's also, this is like, it can be applied to everything in life. Just learning how to not take everything so personally. Because it's like, it might not have even been about you. Like, yes, it's your birthday. Your birthday's important to you. Them not showing up, it doesn't mean that your birthday's any less important to them. And both of you not taking it personally, you're not going to be offended as much. You're going to be able to avoid a lot of those petty arguments and whatever else. And then those like, all right, it's that one particular friend. where we talk heavily for this season and then 6-7 months, but neither of us said anything and neither of us checked in and all that, like that, kind of those weird dynamics with a birthday dinner, just cutting somebody off for a reason like that, it doesn't really make sense. And it's also digging deeper. So okay, if you're so willing to cut them off for that particular reason, what did that friendship look like anyway? Is that really your friend? And like it's been off for a while. If something like this has now caused you to want to, like, okay, I'm done.
Yeah, I think what all of us said too is it goes back to knowing yourself.
Yeah.
Like, you don't take things personally when you know yourself, because you know that in your character you've never shown someone signs that they should remove you that fast from their life. And so you get it's easy to not take it personally when it's like, girl, like, that's got everything to do with how you perceive things. Like, that has everything to do with, there's trauma that's playing a part in that. There's past experiences that are playing a part in that. There's recent trauma, there's recent hurt, there's recent pain, and all of those things have nothing to do with me. But right now in this moment, you're taking them out on me, and that's never been a reflection of my character. You know what I mean? And so when you know yourself to the point where you're like, I know my character, like, and I don't question my character. Am I perfect? Of course not. Is there room to grow? Of course there is. But I know that to this person, I have not shown you anything in my character that would reveal that I have any malicious intent towards you. So why would we do that to each other? You know what I mean? And I think the more that people learn themselves, the less you'll see that, because it's almost like when Brady said, it's like, it's so harsh outside. Like, I say it all the time, like, it's so evil outside. But it's evil because people treat human decency like it's only preserved for friendship now. And it's like, human, like, just decency. We're humans. We both are experiencing life and things that are out of our control, things that sometimes have, you know, like, everything happens for a reason. I felt that way. So, but there's honestly, things just happen. The chair, there wasn't a reason the chair fell. The chair just fell. You know what I mean? And I think when you get to that place in your life where you're like, things just happen, and there's also things that happen for a reason, it's like, okay, like.
And you know what? I think also too with the relationships, I think a lot of what we see, like, there's a lot of relationships where they've become more transactional in nature rather than relational in nature. And people have focused so much on the transactional piece of it, where it's like, you do this for me and I do this for you, I scratch your back. And they've made that the emphasis, where it's like, your aim should be to be relational. Like, do the love, just love, you know what I'm saying? Just trust, be reliable, show up, you know what I mean? Respect people's boundaries. Like, they're getting away from that, I think. And I think that's the challenge in what we see. And people are so willing to just up and leave because you're just not scratching my back anymore.
Yeah.
I mean,
and that's just like,
so I was having this conversation today. Like, that's so funny. This is so timely. God, that's crazy. He's so funny. God, you're such a funny guy. I was having a conversation today in the spirit of, like, Valentine's Day and everything, and I was having a conversation with a guy, like, who's a friend of mine, and I asked him, like, do you celebrate Valentine's Day with the girls that you're dating? And he's like, I've never liked anybody enough for me to celebrate Valentine's Day. And I had to give him the perspective of, like, so many people think that social media, right, like, sad boy. Anyway, like, people walk around saying, really, not for real.
I'm talking to you.
Like, no.
F1.
Like, in real life. And I was listening to him, and I was like, okay, if I, first of all, why wouldn't you celebrate the holiday that's just about love? And then people do the whole, well, if you show people you love them every day, then why do you need a day to do it? And it's like, well, why not? Because every other day is just evil as they come. And so you're telling me this day is for love? I'm okay. Like, there's nothing that's, like, weighing on me so bad that I can't just honor the people in my life that I love a little bit more. Or, like, you hear the thought of, in the transactional, in terms of men, like, well, I don't celebrate that because, like, that's not my girl, or I'm dating her, but it's not. And it's like, you spend time with that girl, like, you're with her daily, you're on dates with her, and maybe you are intimate with her, and maybe you share life experiences with this other person. Love doesn't have to be you're in love with people. I literally love all the ladies here, because I really do love y'all. But, like, even I love that your existence, I'm even allowed to be around your existence. I'm allowed to even have a piece of your mind. I love that. Yeah. And so on Valentine's Day, I could celebrate y'all with the same type of love that you know what I mean? And that's just like the transactional piece of, okay, well, I'm going to give this all to her, but it doesn't mean she means that much to me. And it's like, are you not grateful for her existence? Like, can you just not love that she is a person who is in this earth that you've gotten to have a conversation with? Obviously, you appreciate her to that point, so why couldn't you just... It's really evil outside, guys.
I was gonna say, I think it goes back to heart posture and like
I like that term.
Yeah, like your heart posture, and then having a servant heart, because if you have a servant heart in general, you're going to serve everyone around you, and you're going to give it all, like give everything your best, give everything your all. And I think that the unfortunate part is that when it comes to transactional relationships, you're not going to work on the days that aren't payday.
Right.
Like that, you know what I mean? So it's like people approach friendship in that way of like, oh, well, what am I getting from this?
Right.
Whereas like, try to go to your job once every 2 weeks and see what happens. But, you know, not to say that they're the same thing, but in general, like people are always looking to, or people have to grow to a point where they're not looking to see like, well, what is in it for me? And just doing it from like the kindness of their heart. And if they have a hardened heart, and not to get too like biblical, but
Get the people what they need, the food.
you know, it's like moving yourself out of the way to let God soften your heart and let Him clean it out and renew your spirit in that way. And it's like a lot of people, they don't take the issue with that is a lot of people are afraid to sit in solitude. Because a lot of the work that God has to do in your heart, that you have to be by yourself. And that's why people are also afraid to approach conversations in friendship. Because they're like, well, if I don't have this friend, then what am I going to do? Like, I'd rather endure. It's almost like, what is the phrase? Like, the devil you know? Like, I don't really use that phrase, but like, I think the meaning of it is that, okay, well, I mean, I know this friend don't never answer the phone and never call me back. I know she never shows up to anything. I know she's not there for me when this happens or whatever. However, I've known her forever. Or, you know, this, whatever it means to them, whatever the particular friendship. But if people take the time out to be okay with, all right, if I speak on how I feel in a situation, if that means that this person is now offended or this friendship is over, then I'm okay with that. Because I believe that whether that puts you by yourself or you rely on other friends, but it's like, okay, I believe that it's going to come back to me. God is going to return whatever it is that I feel like I lost, right? Because it's like because a lot of the time when that happens, people realize like, oh, I feel lighter. Like I am better off without that friendship, and it was, you know, really kind of draining, and not just, you know, it wasn't the effort that you put in wasn't being reciprocated in that way. But yeah, it goes back to the heart for sure.
It really is a privilege to be in people's lives, and I don't think people like understand that as much. That it's really a privilege to be in people's lives. But yeah, we're gonna shift gears a little bit. What about expectations? How do we feel about expectations?
You know, like I touched on earlier, I feel like I became an expectation expert of my friends once life shifted for all of us. You know, we're no longer just in the house on the phone all day. You know, people are married, people have kids, people are, you know, in different companies and jobs and things of that nature. So I realized like people are not going to be available 24/7. So I think that's when I was able to actually really understand and apply the whole, you know, concept of having realistic expectations for each friend, and each friend will be different. And I think that's really important because then you're able to tie in the grace aspect of it, because it's like, hey, I'm not going to expect what, you know, my friend that is single versus my friend with 3 kids is going to do, or how they're going to show up and be present for me. Like, you're not going to come to every, you know, work conference to support me, or, you know, every, whatever the case may be, because you just don't have the time. But you may be the one to drop in and, you know, stop by the house and just randomly give me a hug, which may be my love language or what I need. You know, everybody has something different to offer, and that's why you really have to know your people and have realistic expectations for each one.
I agree with that. Yeah, I don't have anything for that. That's it.
I'll have another comment.
Keep going.
I think with expectations, especially in the season of Black that I'm in, and I'd say the season that I've been in maybe for about a year or so, it's just recognizing that, okay, I'm good with people showing up for me in the best possible way that they can, and the best way that they know how to. And we can work with that. Whether that's in the same way in which I would show up for them, like that's not necessarily what matters. It's just, okay, because like Danny said, I think it was Danny at the beginning of the conversation, how people were raised really takes a toll on like how they show up. And I was like, we don't have time to dig deep into that, but recognizing, and it's like it all ties together, because it's like when you recognize how people are raised and how that pours into the type of person they show up as in the world, you can then give them grace, but then you also can see that, okay, is this something that I can, you know, is it the type of person that I can have in my life moving forward? Are they willing to grow? Are they willing to change? Do they even know these things about themselves? have I done everything in my power and within just my realm of responsibility as a human being to whether it's, whether your job is to make them aware of these things that, they have going on, what they're doing, not doing, whatever, or if it's just to speak on how you feel about how they're maneuvering. Have I done everything that God has led me to do in this situation? And if so, being able to walk away if that's the case, or it's like, it could be your assignment to then show them something different, and you put in the energy and the effort in that way, but just being able, like C said earlier, to discern, like, all right, what is it about this friendship? Like, why is this person in my life?
Yes.
And if you don't know, ask God.
Yes, because he will always tell you.
Always tell you.
That's right.
Yeah.
Clarify, for sure. And you also can't be afraid of what he showed you.
Oh my God.
Yep, so it's like, don't ask if you don't know the
Don't
answer.
I act like yeah.
Like, right, I was like right here.
Right.
That part.
I can talk about my other friends.
Right.
Hear about them.
Like,
Yeah, I think, like we all touched on with the grace part, a lot throughout this whole conversation. That's really important in knowing your friends, but also I feel like that goes hand in hand with forgiveness. Like, number one, and we're all Christians up here, you have to forgive. And unless you don't want to be forgiven, you don't have a choice.
right.
But, outside of that, we are human, and I feel like when you know your personality, you know your people, you can have grace. And even when you don't have enough grace, there also comes a time where it's like, I know this person, I know their heart, so by faith, I'm gonna just go ahead and forgive them because I know that they didn't mean it, and we're gonna move forward.
Yeah.
And I think that's really hard for a lot of women to do. And I mean, it's hard for people in general to do, but especially women. And we can go ahead and get into it, talk about it, because I don't know why it is so hard for women to do that in their relationships and their sisterhoods, whatever you want to call it. But they be so quick to do it for their men.
I think
You gonna make me rough.
here's the thing. I think that there's so many things that play a part, I feel like, in that. And I think a lot of them are variables that you have to, like, things that you have to unlearn.
Yeah.
And we talked about the trauma, and it goes back, but it really does go back to that, I think, so many times, and why women are so forgiving with the men that they're dealing with rather than their women in their friendships. Because think about when you watch the movies, right? When you watch the movies, the girls are best friends. And when they stop being friends, they're really like enemies now, right? Like, that's all you've seen. You're programmed to think, like, if my friend violates me that way, then that's what needs to happen. I have to get rid of her. But with men, it's like all you see in movies is a man doing something wrong to a woman, but then him trying to make up for it and her forgiving, and it still could be a happily ever after. And that's what we see. So that's why I feel like so often women are operating within that realm of like, well, what I've always seen, been programmed to know, or they could have, I hate to say it, a bitter mama whose heart was broken and hurt from her own friendships and is a lonely person, and therefore has raised a daughter who, I'm a teacher, so I teach 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade. I get 3rd graders who are like, yo, she's fake. I don't never want to be her friend anymore. If she's so scary, she just, and I'm like,
Can you spell fake?
could you read fake? Right. You stop playing in my face. And it's like, and I'm like, why are you saying that? And she's like, my mama, like, and the first thing she says is, my mama saying that I shouldn't be trusting, and my mama saying if she does, and it's like,
Oh my God.
can I call your mama? Because what happened to mom, for real?
Right.
And why is she raising you to hate women so much?
Yeah.
And then raising them to hate men too, but that's not what we're talking about today, so
Listen.
they're just raising to hate everybody.
Hate everybody. The
100%.
hate in their heart, and yeah, it definitely does start at home.
Yeah.
It definitely, and how you nurture your friendships, you learn that. You learn how to nurture your heart from your mother, your father, your parental figures in your life.
Very much so.
Yeah, I definitely would say that's 100%. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
But that goes hand in hand with grace and forgiveness, though. For some
Mhm.
people, for
Exactly.
some people, it's equivalent actually for men and women. And
Yeah.
for a lot of women, though, it's actually not.
It's
But
not.
a lot of women listening, let's just do better in life and set
Yeah.
examples for the younger generation.
Yes.
If anything, sisters before misters.
Okay. Because the
And they
ladies
don't
need
think
us.
that's enough.
Yeah.
That's just enough. You might as well come together.
Yeah.
And it's like, and even if you don't have the example in your own life of like positive women friendships, don't take that as it doesn't exist. Yeah, create them. But also like first like work on yourself. Work on becoming the friend that you want to have.
Yes.
And then those people will be attracted to you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because I can say a lot of the friends that I have now at 29, I didn't go seeking those friendships.
Yeah.
Or they were friends or people that I knew, but we weren't intentional about watering it, but not because we didn't realize that, oh, there's something here.
Yeah.
Like, oh, like I've known you for 15 years, but I didn't realize we had all this in common. But that's because the season of life that we were both in, maybe 15 years ago, we weren't meant to be friends. And really just kind of letting God lead us in that way, in whatever time He decides. And He's like, boop, you've been following this person for 10 years, but now something as in Holy Spirit, but we won't get too deep, has nudged you to now like DM this person, or this person has been liking all their pictures, like, she goes to the gym too, or like we're both vegan, or whatever, like whatever it is, right? And it can be something really tiny, like I have this random hobby that nobody knows about, God knows. And so He has created some other people that also have that hobby. And it's like, oh my gosh, you do that too? Right. And so it's like, just being open in that way to kind of just whatever shifts come. And if that means that you're developing new friendships or letting go of old ones, or the dynamics are changing, just being open and flowing in that way.
Oh, I love the word flow.
Yeah.
Flow, that just arrested my spirit. I literally love the word flow. I love the word flow because it literally starts with yourself. And you have to be free flowing within you, which is why we started with mindset and mental goodness, because if you're clogged up, you cannot flow. And then if you can't flow, you can't flow with the people in your life. And then you're out of sync, you're out of whack, you're not in alignment. So I think that that's super big. And also too, something that came to my mind is expectations go both ways. So you have to do the work. Anytime, expectation with no effort is entitlement. And then you start getting into ego-driven desires. Like, that is just, that's where we don't want to go, right? We want to flow in love. We want to flow in, the happy place of the Holy Spirit.
I feel like t-shirts on the way.
I was going to say, I actually have, and I won't go too into detail, but I actually had experienced something like Shalandria was talking about, where I had a friendship and literally it just had to flow. I was best friends with one of my girlfriends, like from elementary all the way up until like near college, and we had some outs, and we had to separate. It wasn't a huge falling out or anything like that, but it was just we weren't in alignment. I was somewhere she wasn't, and I couldn't be what she needed from me, and she couldn't be what I needed for her. But fast forward, about last year, we DM'd. We should get together. She's like, okay, we get together, and when I say like literally tears of that separation, we both were able to grow. We became totally different people, to where when we came back together, it was like, this was only God. So it's possible. And I say that to say, if you're struggling with, whether, you want to become friends with someone again, or whether you need to take a break, pray about it, talk to God, like I said, and you might just need to do that. So that, and it might not be the end. If it's not supposed to be. But do what you need to do for yourself and for that person, and just watch God work, however it's supposed to. But it's very possible.
So I guess if we could kind of summarize, if everybody wants to choose something that was their favorite piece of today, that we can leave these amazing listeners with. I guess
let me start.
You start.
Yeah, because I want to steal it for somebody else. Let me say the puzzle pieces. Boy, you the puzzle pieces, and I know and you can piggyback on, but just how all puzzle pieces aren't the same, but how they come together, how they're supposed to, where your friends can become friends. Just recognizing that none of your friends are the same. Don't expect the same type of friendship from each of your friends. Recognizing who they are, their parts, how they need to be loved, how they are able to show love in that season, and just having that heart posture to be able to. Yeah, I love that too. I'm taking it all. to just be that good friend.
I'm gonna take grace because grace, honestly, it's everything. But the big reason grace pulled is because there's times where it's easy to have grace because that's not a personal thing for you. And then sometimes when there's a trigger there that you haven't really healed from yet, or that that still brings out those emotions, sometimes it's a little harder to have grace. And so grace was just a really big part of this conversation because it goes everywhere in your life. Just to practice grace is just so classy. It's just so classy.
It's the best thing.
Yeah.
Trust me.
I think, because I don't want to go last. I don't want y'all to steal everything. But no, I'm just kidding. I'm actually going to go back to the puzzle piece because that just sparked an additional thought. So it kind of counts as a summary.
Yeah.
With the puzzle pieces, not only like recognizing that everything doesn't fit right next to each other, recognizing that it's a part of a bigger picture. So it's bigger than us. Like friendship is bigger than us. And when everybody is looking at it from the vantage point of, oh, it's not about me, it's about whatever God wants to do. And we're all approaching it. And then because of that, again, like I said, I'm not going to go too deep, but like recognizing that we're all part of the body of Christ. And so because of that, the mission is bigger, and no one person is any less important than another. No one friend is any less important than another. And it causes you to be able to give that respect and that same love to everybody.
Yeah.
You did a preach on, Pastor.
That's what I'm saying.
Do not learn.
It's a platform.
Okay, we'll save the best for last. I would definitely say Danny still might have grace.
Everybody had something
great
great
to say, but
we had conversations before this.
but I think that goes hand in hand with expectations. Like I said, like knowing your tribe is so important, and also I think this generation as a whole needs to do better with not using the term friend and sister and all that stuff loosely, because that is something very intimate and sacred. I know for me at least. So just be mindful of that, and also like I said, knowing your tribe. Like if I can promise you, every single person in my tribe I could trust with my bank account, in my PIN, in my password. And if I can't do that, trust and believe I do not call you part of my tribe. So I feel like knowing that, and like you said, knowing that person's heart, their heart's posture, that is super important because that trickles down to everything else in every single aspect and conversation and component that we've had of this conversation. So I feel like that's really important. And then that helps you have realistic expectations of what you have of each friend. It's like, yeah, I know this person loves me to death, but just can't do that, and that's okay. Because a lot of these friendships are ruined, and not only ruined, but also creates all this beef. Whatever term y'all want to hear, and just unnecessary hate in this world, and it's not it. So I think just having grace and also just knowing your people and knowing yourself is super important. So that would be my takeaway in all of this for sure. And the best for last.
Wrap us up in a bow, Bray. I don't know if we said this already, but it dawned on me. God sends you people to not only keep you company along your journey, but to help you get to your destination. There's times when he sends you people, we talked about up here, you got to discern the ones who are not meant to assist you and help you get to your journey, but there's also trusting that there are people that he sends. And how do you honor that? How do you lift them up? How do you keep them healthy? Because like anything in life, like a plant, you have to water it. If you have a pet puppy, you have to feed it and take it out. Like, you have to make sure that you nurture every component or every aspect of your life. And that includes your friendships. Because truthfully, do you see like all these women up here? And for the listeners, you can't see, but you can feel the women up here. And you feel the power in the room. There's so much power in our tribe. There's so much power in the people that we call friends. So it's really truly a constant evaluation of the people in your life, and not necessarily an assessment where you're trying to test them, right? Because there's no right or wrong answer here, but more so like a dance. A dance. I think that was one of my favorite things, and it's just a survey of how their actions match their words. And then also, if we could charge you all with anything as well, it's just maybe ask yourself, do the people connected to you fully help you fulfill your purpose in life, or are they hindering you from fulfilling your purpose in life? I think it determines where you go ultimately, and maybe what are some better ways you can love on your tribe? What's some better ways that we can engage? What's some better ways you can build your tribe so that the people that there are just a genuine reflection of yourself? So I think that we can pause here. Now, I meant to do the episode dedication, but I got so overwhelmed with these amazing and beautiful faces. This episode is going to be dedicated to my favorite, most inspiring woman, I would say, in history. Everyone knows her. She's most prominent for the civil rights movement. Mr. Rosa Parks. Well, she's really sore. I literally have a picture of her in my room because she just is a woman's woman. Like, you know how people are, we say girl's girl. She's the woman's woman. She shows up. She showed up for Miss Reese Taylor. I don't know if anyone knows about Reese Taylor. Reese Taylor was a young Black woman in, I believe, Alabama, who was sexually assaulted by 6 white men. And Rosa actually traveled back and forth from where she was to accompany her in court when they wouldn't even let them in the courtroom because they were Black. So she was just a true trailblazer in so many different ways. I think we all know her from not giving up her seat on the bus, but if you start to dig into her history and her legacy, she really, really stood for women empowerment. So it's amazing that God led me to her right here. I'm just so grateful to honor her. And lastly, we will do the Crown Her segment, which is going to go to the phenomenal Miss Mia Williams. She's been doing her thing with the colors of her success. She really has been truly blazing the trail. She really believes in inspiration through representation. She's partnered with a number of companies. She's moderating a number of conversations in terms of minority women, and you really should just check out her platform. She does career networking and career services, so check her out when you have an opportunity. The colors of her success, we will post her on our page. Love this. Anything else anyone would like to leave you with?
We love you.
No, thank you. We love you
We
so
love
much.
you. This is great.
This is amazing.
I love you all.
12 out of 10. It's a wrap.
Till next time.
Till next time.
That was great.